Welcome back to Geek Shuffle and to the first edition of Comic Corner. I talked about this in last Friday's birthday blowout video, where I covered what I would talk about in the upcoming Friday releases. And Comic Corner will be once a month, together with Comic Crate, where I talk about comics I bought in the last month, which will be one of the first videos in July. One of the subjects I teased in the last Friday was lenticular covers, and it seemed fitting because it has just been the 10th anniversary of these covers. The Villain Month DC lenticular covers, the first release of these. Villain Month is something DC does once a year, in October, I believe, around Halloween. They release a complete set of villain covers instead of their usual covers, where the normal releases are replaced with villain variants on the covers. I don't have a complete set of the first release. I was late to the party, so I bought what I could when it was released, and I picked some stuff along the way, and I think I'm missing 8 out of 52. And not all of them is something I want. I think there's one cover I still want of the 52, but I have most of them, and I have the specific ones that I really want. For instance, we have the Lobo #1 from New 52 here. And I'm not going to go over all of them. The ones you can see in front of you here are just the ones I'm not going to cover. I'm going to go over my top 10 and quickly cover what the idea of these was. They printed 3D variants along with, for instance, they had the normal variants like these, and then they had the 3D variants as well that cost $1 more. This was $3, and then you could buy the 3D variant that was $4 in a much smaller print run. I think they printed around 30 to 40,000, and this was 3 times as much, the regular version. This release also was the first we saw of Joker's daughter. I don't know how popular she was after this, but it was worth mentioning that this was the first time she was mentioned. Back to the 3D covers. Since this was the first time DC had done this on a large scale, they went with a somewhat casual approach to the 3D covers. You can do lenticular in a variety of ways. If you have seen, again, if you go back to my birthday stream, I opened some 3D cards where you see some variant of lenticular covers, lenticular use, where you have 2 different images that you shift between. And here they do a downgraded version where they just shift the background, or they have where they try to add depth. And this is not, well, it is not the best use. It is one way to use it, and it's if I do this, you can see there's a slight shift in some of the art in the background, and it does give and a view of depth to the image. It is all right. And I believe they did this because it is a cheaper version. It requires less art. They can reuse the same art. They just have to shift the art a bit when they do this. They did do another run in the Villain Month the following year, where they have two images that is shifted. But they then did it on a cutout in the middle of the picture, probably because to save money. And we will do that in a future video where we'll cover my top 10 of those. The reason why I start with Lobo, because in my birthday video, I have a subscriber sweepstake that is running to the 1st of July 2023, where the Lobo variant and one other variant, yet to be named, is part of the prize pool. I haven't named the prize pool, but this is one of it. If you choose the physical prize, if you want to have a physical prize, there is also an option to get a digital currency prize if you don't want to provide your address, so forth. It is all covered in that video. Go watch that if you want to partake in the subscriber sweepstakes. But 2 3D comics are part of the prize, along with other comics, first runs, first appearances, so forth. Not this one, because I have touched this and I have taken them out of the protection. Oh no, because they didn't want to show up if they were in the bags. So I had to take my collectors, my dear collectors comics out of the bags to show them off on the video. So let's move on to the other top 10s. And the first, and another thing I also want to mention, the lenticular is wraparound. So on the back you can see an ad for Batman Arkham Origins, which was the game at the time, also lenticular. And this is, you can see there are enemies on his armor here. This is the full image replacement lenticular thing, but this is the same on all the backs, as far as I know, on all these. So they use the same ad on all of them. But my number 10 is, or number 9, I think Lobo was number 10, Black Manta, which is the villain of Aquaman. And I picked him because there is a lot going on with him. You can see Aquaman in the background. You have the blood splatter in the foreground that moves around. And this is the theme on many of my top 10s, that you have multiple layers, you have depth, you have the whirlpool going into the back, which if they go with this kind of 3D, you have to use the depth to make it worth your while. Many of the others, even though they have good art, you can see the Killer Croc, it has very little movement, very little depth. So it doesn't really use the image all that much. So Black Manta is number 9, I believe. Number 8, Swamp Thing, Arcane. And this one I liked specific for the cutout in the chest and the feel of depth for that cutout. It might not show up on video because the video is 2D, but you can, in real life, it really does look 3D when you look into his chest. And that is really a really neat effect. along with the Swamp Thing in the back and the bell tower. The bell tower moves way too much, though. That is, they did go overboard with the movement of the background. They would have to make some adjustments to that, but yeah. Other than that, that effect looks pretty neat in real life. Pretty cool. Number 8, Arcane Swamp Thing. This one I debated. She might be higher. I really like Killer Frost as a character. Justice League of America, Killer Frost. And the effect on this is really nice. Icicles flying towards you. The illusion of flying towards you with the beaten characters in the background. But the shifting of the icicles is pretty cool, with her being more or less stationary. Very cool cover. And then we have Batman Detective Comics Man Bat. And here we have bats flapping. So we have some image. Well, it does look, it is the same image, just moved, but it does look like it is actually an image replacement in the background, but it is just moved. But a good depth effect with Man Bat. And Batman knocked out on the ground. Man Bat. That was number 7. So number 6, where I think Arcane Swamp Thing was the least sold, so the most rare. This was the most sold, because it is, of course, Batman number 1, Joker number 1. And this I picked just because of the chattering teeth, because it isn't the most, just like Killer Croc and Penguin and Cheetah and many of the big villains on the other covers, it isn't the most dynamic, but they did move the teeth, which was enough to move it up a bit. If they also had animated his mouth, then it would have been definitely have been a winner, but no. Or if they have moved his ha-has. The art is good though, and the depth back towards Batman, and the room is good. Let's see if I actually I didn't manage to count to the correct number, so this is number 4. Poison Ivy, Batman Detective Comics again. Poison Ivy number 1. And we got moving Poison Ivy. plants. And Batman once again knocked out on the ground. He does that a lot in these, it seems. It is her and Killer Frost, and I might actually like Killer Frost a bit more. It is a bit more. There's a bit more movement in Killer Frost, even though her hand moves here. So we get to top three, and we have Two-Face, and we are in the same situation as with Joker. And they did a small image replacement with the coin, the initial coin flip, and his finger. So we have an initial coin flip animation, one frame animation, which is enough to put it up here. And a lot of depth, of course, because of the large coin moving back. Again, Batman knocked out. A lot of knocked out Batman. But that is the theme of Villain Month, of course. Very nice. And that brings us to number 2. And this is a personal pick, because here we only have background. And again, the beaten up Batman. poor Batman. We have a lot of background movement and a very static foreground. But it's Harlequin, and I collect Harlequin. So she snuck up to number 2 on that alone. And number 1, we have a very iconic comic, Court of Owls, number 1. And we have a lot of background. Images moving, tapestry moving. And we have slight shifts in the faces and Batman hanging in the background. It's subtle, but I really like how this image shifts in the image itself. The 3D might be better on some of the other images, but I really like the image and how the frames are seem to be hanging in midair. In real life, it might not show up on video. So that is my personal top 10 of the first release of DC Lenticular covers. And we will probably look at the second release of DC Lenticulars, and in time might look at other lenticular covers that have been released, Marvel, whatever else might be out there. What if I can find some? I have some of the Marvel ones as well, but DC was definitely the most prolific. I hope this was interesting for somebody. If you haven't, please go participate in the subscriber sweepstakes to a chance to win cards, either Demon Slayer or God of Story, whatever, if that is your preference. You get to choose if you win. comic books, stuff like this. So I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.